Hello, good morning. My name is Andrea, and today for this masterclass, we're going to see utilizing learning management systems, LMS, and content management systems, CMS. Okay, let's begin. So, first of all, both of these systems, LMS and CMS, are related to e-learning. They are focused on organizing and delivering digital content to users, and it can be used for many purposes. However, for this class, we're going to focus mostly on education as the main purpose for both of these platforms. First of all, e-learning is a field that has been growing lately. It's going to continue growing, and that is why it's important for us as teachers to pay attention to all of the possibilities that we have that can make teaching easier for us and for our students. In that sense, we can see that 3.2 million of college students are exclusively enrolled in online education courses. This not only refers to university college courses, but it can also be other types of trainings that college students are enrolled into. We also see that 375 billions is the amount that e-learning market is expected to exceed by the year 2026. So not only this is extremely helpful for students and teachers, but it's also a growing market that has a big impact on the economy. We can also see that the mobile e-learning market is valued at 38 billions by the year 2020. Not only that, but for the self-paced e-learning market, it was expected to grow to 335 billion by 2021. On top of that, we can see that by last year, 2023, the worldwide LMS market was going to be valued at $224 billion. And as of the year 2020, the mobile learning market is valued at $360 million. So, it's really clear that e-learning is something that will continue to grow, and we definitely need to know as much as we can about it in order to use it. We can see that the mobile e-learning industry is also growing, as well as all of the LMS platforms that we have available. So, let's talk about the learning management system. So first of all, what is an LMS? This is going to be a software application or web-based technology used to plan, implement, and assess a specific learning process. Why do we use learning management systems? Well, there are many reasons for that, but let's talk about the most important ones. First, we can use it for tracking and reporting, and as well as for maintaining records. When you have an LMS active, you will have access to all of the documents, all of the tests, quizzes, assessments, tasks, and other activities, as well as planning, documents, lesson plans that are related to the specific course or class or process. This is going to be something that you can check in the future, and you can always go back to it to have that information readily available for you, for your supervisors, for your students, parents, and anyone involved in the learning process. It's also a good tool for student performance evaluation. When you have a learning management system platform, you can use it to evaluate your students. These platforms have different tools that you can use in order to keep track of the grades of the different assessments and feedback that you can give to the students that are involved in the process. That is why it's used for student performance evaluation. It also lets you have personalized communication. When you have a learning management system, LMS, it's going to provide you with tools that will let you interact and communicate with the people that are involved in this process. Mostly that will be the students, but it can also be the parents, it can also be authorities, management, and so on. You can do that by chatting, by forums, by messages that the platform will allow you to include. Then you will see that it will also allow you to include MIS reports, and it's also cost effective. The last one is going to be something really relevant for educators, as we can make use of this tool that is not going to be expensive. We will not have to spend a lot of money just to use these platforms and share it with our students. There might be other alternatives that have the same tools or similar tools, but that are very expensive, and not many of us educators will be able to afford them, or the schools where we work at probably won't be able to afford those. However, when working with LMS, you will see that this will not be an issue, as these are really cost effective, and it's going to be something that every school or budget will be able to afford if they need it. Let's talk about the main characteristics of LMS. First of all, let's talk about the online course materials. When you have an LMS platform, you will be able to use it to store materials such as audio, video, and animations. This sort of media would not be able to be stored physically, like in documents, because it's not possible to physically store an audio or a video or an animation if you're only using documents, paper, or any other sort of physical records, which is why this is perfect for media materials like the ones we just mentioned. Regarding the delivery, it can be delivered through the web or through mobile phone. This is going to be something that students will find useful because it offers them flexibility regarding the way in which they can access this content and this information, either through a laptop or computer, but it can also be used on a mobile phone or even a tablet. So its delivery is going to be something that every student is going to be able to use when they have an LMS platform. Now, about communication. These platforms will let them use chat, forums, or emails to be in contact with the people involved in the process at all times. It can also be used to store offline course material such as PDFs, HTML, or CSS documents. This can be used for extra material or extra activities that the students can use, they can access if they feel that they can use it or that they will find it useful for them, for themselves. It also allows registration for courses, for education, etc. It's going to let the teacher and the school have a record of how many students are enrolled. Also, what are their grades, if they have completed the activities, if they need to improve a certain aspect. That is why registration is an important characteristic of LMS. This platform also allows for testing. It can be self-test, a quiz, or an exam. It will bring lots of tools that will let educators and teachers create assessment for students, and it can also be used for creating random questions or maybe randomizing the answers. This will ensure that students will really be paying attention to what they do and what they have to study, because it's probably that they will not have to see the same question twice. This makes it a great tool for educators when they want to test or assess the students. And that leads me to the final characteristic related to the one that we just mentioned, which is tracking of learning and student performance. With an LMS, you will be able to see exactly what students are doing, what they have done, what they still have to do, and how they are doing in terms of performance, as you will be able to see averages for the different assessments that they will have on this platform. That will allow teachers to know if there's a specific subject or topic that they will need to reinforce or review in order to improve student performance. Here we have some of the 10 best learning management system examples. Some of these platforms we may know, and maybe some of them are new. The first one is called Educate Me. This is the most progressive and fast-growing LMS example. The second one is called Moodle. I think that we're very familiar with this platform because it's the best open source example of LMS. It allows teachers to create courses for students and keep track of all their activities and assessment. We also have Disco, which is the best LMS example with community learning accent. Docebo is also an example of LMS for corporate training. In this case, this platform is oriented toward business and business people more than for schools or universities. Kajabi is another example of an LMS with marketing and sales capabilities. iSpring is the best LMS example for employee onboarding and upskilling. Once again, this is an LMS that is not oriented towards education, but it's mostly oriented towards business. We also have 360 Learning, which is an example of LMS in education, but for mobile learning. This platform is similar to other education platforms that we know, but the only difference is that it's very specific for mobile learning. So it's going to make mobile learning easier for those students who have that sort of medium for learning. We also have Canvas, which is an LMS that can be used for schools. This is also like an open platform that students and teachers can use. Then we have Thinkific, which is an LMS for mobile learning, very similar to 360 Learning. And finally, we have Blackboard Learn, which is an LMS used for higher education. In this case, that will be university and college as well. So, now that we have talked about LMS, let's see what CMS is. CMS means Content Management System, and it's very similar to LMS. However, CMS is more geared towards content creation, publishing, and website management, such as corporate websites and blogs. To put it simply, one of the main differences between LMS and CMS would be that the CMS does not really allow the same type of interaction that LMS does, since it's mostly going to be oriented towards the content creators and managers, while the user will not have as much of an input in this sort of system. We can see here that some of the options that a CMS will give us are going to be to store, to index search, to share, collaborate, to process, to manage, to publish, deploy, reuse, record, or archive. So how does it work? Here you will see a diagram explaining how CMS works. So, when you have the CMS in a hosted application, you see that basically the interaction that occurs here is going to be directly related to those that are content creators or managers, such as the design manager, who's going to have full rights over this CMS. It will also involve content contributors who have limited rights. On top of that, it will include some editors who will have moderate rights, and of course approvers who also have moderate rights. The person, or maybe the user, the learner, as you can see, is not directly involved in the creation or the interaction with the CMS. Once the CMS is done, it's going to go on a website, and then the final user, which in this case would be the student or the site visitor, only then will be able to access this information. In that way, his participation will be limited to what has already been posted and will not have the same access or ability to interact, put his input, or contribute like he did in the LMS systems. Here are the top 10 content management systems to the year 2020. We have Adobe Experience Cloud. We have WordPress. This might be one of the sites that some of you may know because this is a blog creator and it was very popular in the last 10 years or so for blog creation and content creation. But we also have other similar sites such as Sitecore, Progress, Staffinity, Squarespace, Oracle, Joomla, Drupal, CMS Hub, and Akia. As you can see, most of these sites are related to blog or blogging and content creation. They're not specifically oriented towards education. They can be used for education, but because of the limited interaction with the final user, they're mostly oriented towards other purposes, as we are able to see. So let's take a look at the main differences and the key points of LMS at CMS. First of all, the primary focus. For LMS, the primary focus would be managing and delivering educational content and training materials. On the other hand, for CMS, the primary focus would be creating, organizing, and publishing various types of digital content. Regarding user engagement, which is something that we as teachers are very concerned with, the LMS is going to emphasize user interaction, communication, and collaboration. On the other hand, CMS is going to be focused on content creation and editing. As I said before, CMS is not really focused on this interaction with the final user, the learner. Regarding assessment and grading, LMS is going to be great for this purpose because it offers features for creating assessment, tracking learner progress, and managing grades. On the other hand, CMS does not typically include built-in assessment and grading functionalities. That is because, once again, the final user, the learner, is not really involved in the input of the CMS. Regarding the user roles, we're going to see that in the LMS, we're going to have lots of people involved interacting in these platforms, such as instructors, learners, and administrators. However, the CMS is going to focus on content creators and administrators. Regarding learning analytics, LMS can provide us with tools for that can measure learner performance, engagement, and course effectiveness, whereas CMS does not usually include this type of features. In terms of course management, we're going to see that LMS is going to facilitate course creation, organization, and delivery, and it's going to include content sequencing and scheduling. The CMS, on the other hand, is going to be focused only on content organization and publishing. And finally, regarding compliance and certification, we're going to see that LMS is going to include features for managing compliance, training, and issuing certifications, which the CMS does not typically include. They do not include any type of built-in compliance and certification functionalities. So, to finish, we can see that both LMS and CMS are technologies that can be a transformative force capable of reshaping the very essence of education. It's going to depend on us teachers, the way that we use this technology in order to take advantage and give the best possible experience to our students. We can use these tools in order to innovate, collaborate, and inspire. It also provides equal access to education, as it lets students really be on top of their own learning process, wherever they are, in different geographical contexts, different time zones. So this is great for equal access to education. It's also going to integrate multimedia resources, because this medium is going to be perfect for storing all sorts of media materials that students can check at a later time. And finally, we can use both of these tools in order to personalize the learning experience of our students. Thank you so much for watching the masterclass. This was all for today, and see you later.